Hello, I think. Right. Hello. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, we've got 13 people watching who like so far. Come on, let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up on the stream, and we'll have a nice little chat about Regis Bris, the new Sunderland head coach. Last night, Fabrizio Romano had tweeted the deal was done pretty much. Um, and then Sunderland about half an hour ago announced it. So of course I was going to come on and do a bit of a stream about um, Bris being appointed. But first of all, how's everybody doing? Nice Saturday evening. I've got the Belgium Romania game on in the background, so if you keep seeing me look back and forth, then that's what it is. Let's quickly get into a couple of the comments. Don't know why my computer's recommending my own stream to me, but there we go. Thane, hello Thane, mate. Hopefully you're okay. I'll miss the stream because I'm watching the football. Not good enough, you slacker. But all I'll say is let's get behind Bris. Let's hope the club back him and see how he does. Yeah, can't disagree with any of that. David Walker, how you doing? And Andrew Miller, hopefully you're both all right, gents. Hi, Michael. It's finally over. We got a new head coach. Welcome, Regis. Now up to recruitment team to back him, to give him the players that we need. Yep, again, completely agree. Andrew Miller, welcome, Regis. Welcome, Regis. With Beale, I was 20% confident of any form of progression. With Regis, I'm 60%. Let's get behind him. Away the lads. Yeah, that's the hope. Oh, well, in case anyone's interested, Belgium have scored within 1 minute and 30 seconds. So, hello, Jake. Away the lads. Yep. Angie Smith said, I'm excited for the new season. Read his statement. He came across really well. I've not actually looked at the statement yet because I've been pretty busy. Carl, why do you have a picture of Newcastle in the background, mate? I get asked this question a lot. I live in a household with a Newcastle fan, and I did not pick that. So there we go. So bit of the dark side in the background, but let's balance it out. Well, hey. Anyway, Etienne Lema, Sorry, I've got your name wrong. Hi, lads. French Sunderland fan here. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat. Carl says, kick him out. It's a woman, mate. Dean, and it's not me, partner or anything like that. I'm single. But there you go. Dean, SCFC, about time. Mark Herman, Michael, always. All right, mate. Right. Let's quickly get on to the statement that was released with Regis Bris' appointment. So this is the first time I've read it myself because since I've just come back from walking the dog, so I've been pretty hectic over the last half an hour. But here we go. Let's read this. So here we go. So I'll get to everyone's comments afterwards and give me my own thoughts on it. But here we go. Sunderland AFC is delighted to announce the appointment of Regis Bris as head coach. The Frenchman will arrive on Wearside on the 1st of July 2024 and sign a 3-year contract at the Stadium of Light. Regis's move to the northeast brings an end to his 12-year association with French side FC Lorient, which included heading Le Miller's senior team from June 2022 to June 2024. I'm hoping I've got that right, but I probably got it wrong. Following his appointment, Regis said, I am honoured to be joining Sunderland AFC and look forward to immersing myself in the culture of the club and the city. I believe the best way to understand and appreciate what makes a club unique is to connect with the people who embody its spirit, the supporters, the community, and all those who contribute to its character. All coaches talk about their enthusiasm and vision when they start a new role. I'm certainly here to pass on my energy and my convictions, but also to listen and to learn. The history of this club is very strong, and this is a unique opportunity to be part of that legacy. I recognise the potential of our team, a group that have seen both successes and more difficult times. Our journey together has only just begun, and I am ambitious about what we can achieve. I want us to bring joy to our fans, not only through results, but also our style of play. And I'm convinced with commitment and hard work, we can write an exciting new chapter. Sporting Director Christian Speakman added, we are delighted to have attracted someone of Regis' calibre to Sunderland. He is a talented coach who is thoughtful and detailed in his approach and values strong relationships with players and staff. He is aligned with our, there's the word aligned again. He is aligned with our delivering our playing identity and shares our ambition to win, as well as our passion for talent development. We are excited by the new ideas Regis will bring to Sunderland and look forward to supporting him in his new role. Now, I must admit, I have seen a little bit of KLD's comments here, but I'll read it out anyway. Chairman Kyle Louis-Dreyfus concluded, I must start by thanking our fans for their patience and support throughout an extensive recruitment process. You can say that again. It was imperative for us to try and find try and appoint a candidate who could build on the foundations we have established and play an integral part in fulfilling our long-term ambitions. After following Regis' career in recent years and meeting with him extensively, we believe he can make that contribution, and we are delighted to welcome him to Sunderland AFC. I'm looking forward to the 24-25 season and excited for us to all be back together at the Stadium of Light in August. Regis spent most of his playing career with Stade Rennes and returned to Rosehunt Park. Oh my God, I'm going to get these names wrong. As head of academy coaching in 2004, after concluding his playing career with Stade Lavallois, sounds like Savoy, and Caisse AK Reims. After an immensely successful tenure with Le Rennes included an under-18 national title and victory in the Cup final, France's equivalent of the FA Youth Cup. Regis moved to Lorient in 2012 to lead the club's youth development program, and he has nurtured many highly regarded talents, whilst also coaching Lorient B from 2015 and 2022. The Frenchman took charge of the Brittany-based outfit senior team in June 2022 and guided them to their highest ever top flight finish in almost a decade, as the club registered its second highest points tally in their league earned history. Welcome to Sunderland, Regis. Wow, that was a mouthful of a statement. That was an absolute mouthful of a statement. Good God. Right, okay then. So, apologies for my horrendous pronunciations. It's never ever going to be. So I'm just looking at Yorkshire Mackham's comment. I'll get to that in a minute. Right, let's quickly read through some of the comments. Let's see. Hang on, just bear me one moment. Let's get this sorted. Right. So we've got Mark Evans says, good to hear what you say. As like me, you are willing to see how this goes. Yorkshire, yeah, exactly. And I think that's how every Sunderland fan should be at the moment. And if he ends up, until we have no reason to get behind him, let's get behind him. Let's see how he does. Regis isn't as bad as what he's made out to be. Steve's M68. Welcome, Regis. Good luck. Let's get behind him and give him a chance to show he can be a success. FTM. Absolutely. Yorkshire Mackham. Lorient only went down after selling their best players. Jamie says, not impressed, but I will get behind the bloke. That's all we can do. Eddie Bamba, I'm actually quite looking forward to a manager that I have no preconceptions of. He has a completely clean slate for me. Just imagine we've unearthed a hidden gem. Well, that's the hope. All right, Daniel. Good mate, Daniel Jenks. Responding to that person who said that picture was of Newcastle, it is actually Gateshead. Joe Goxmackham, this is the comment I was laughing at. 22-23 season, Lorient finished up 10th above Ginger Alex Neil. Yeah. For those who don't know, I've started calling Will Still the Ginger Alex Neil because I've not been impressed by his antics. Let's put it that way. Zillan DJ, Lebris statement a lot different from Beale's. Yeah, well, Beale's would be, well, we're in a good place and say something completely ridiculous like outside noise. Brian L, let's support the new manager. Yep. James Bowen's Reggie's red my army. I've got a feeling that's going to be a common chant, especially if we end up doing well. DM, 10th place for a side that finished 16th the last 2 seasons after getting promoted isn't bad at all. Well, there you go. We've gone nearly 8 minutes in. So, what have I thought? Okay, so my thoughts on it are, I'll get the negative out of the way. I'm still not happy with how long this has taken to solve. But what I would say is that if he ends up being good, then the wait was worth it. A lot of it, there's no doubt in my mind that a lot of the pressure is going to be on Bris to deliver, which is rightly or wrongly on him. But at the same time, the hierarchy need this appointment to work because of how, quite frankly, shocking and shite the last 6 months have been, and how this head coach search has gone on for so long. Like, they need this to work. They absolutely need this to work. I do believe the Will Still thing did waste a few weeks, when in the end he had no intention of coming. So for me, that's wasted a bit of time. You know, it looks to me like the club did move on towards getting Bris or whichever other head coaches you want to actually look at it. I think that when you look at it this way, if Bris was on that 5-man shortlist in February after Beale left, then that's absolutely fair enough. You know, if it is the case, I don't know if that's the case or not, but we'll find out soon enough. I think it was a Keith Downey on Sky Sports. Now, I know some of the fans, obviously, we don't have a particularly great relationship with Keith Downey, but to be fair to him, when Sky Sports, I do genuinely believe that I believe them a lot more than some of the stuff I've heard over the last few months. So he was saying apparently he was on the shortlist since February with Michael Beale. Now, if that's the case, and we managed to get someone within that shortlist, then fair enough. If this goes wrong, however, I mean, there's every chance it will, because this is a completely unknown entity in terms of an appointment. Um, I do believe that the club hierarchy will get a lot of stick for this, and rightly so. There's no justifying this if it ends up going tits up, but fingers crossed it doesn't. Etienne says, should be good football. The style of play of Lorient and Rennes' academy record was fine. Liam K says, let's have a look. Liam says, rivalry aside, does this concern you because of how many managers turn you down? I can see why you say that. I think that when it comes to a lot of them turning it down, I think it depends what you believe. A lot of it might have been because we weren't paying the wages, a lot of it because of the structure, because of the coaching staff, whatever it's going to be. But for me, again, it all depends if this works or not. It does. I think it did concern me a little bit how long it's dragged on for. And to quickly touch on David with Decky, Michael, where was the main problem in searching for a new manager for that long? Because for me, well, I suppose again, to be fair, you would like to have hoped that in searching for someone, ideally, I just wanted someone appointed about a month ago. Now, obviously, it has to be someone who's good enough, and I do get the idea that you have to appoint someone who's good enough. You can't just appoint anyone for the sake of it, even if it's appointing someone quicker. And to be fair, someone made a good point that actually we could have just appointed, say, Paul Heckenbottom. Well, if you believe he didn't turn us down anyway, we could have appointed anyone who that would have saved a lot of trouble. But for me, I just don't. I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me how long it's taken. I think the only concern I've got with it really is that, well, just went a bit weird there. The only thing I've got concerning is that, with likes of Chris Rigg and Dan Neil's new contracts, less so necessarily Dan Neil, but certainly Chris Rigg, how could those few weeks have been enough to get other people in his ear about, like I said, Man United representatives in his ear, or unfortunately Newcastle representatives in his ear about moving away? Could this have affected certain signings? Like Liam Miller, for example, was someone who has been linked with as a potential Clarke replacement. Does this mean that the length of time this has taken meant that we've lost out on him? Because I'm assuming Clarke is going. Or does it mean we're just losing out on other signings because of how long this has taken? If it does come down to the work permit, and I can't remember, someone said, oh yeah, Robert Foster, part of the long wait was because they had to go to appeal to get his work permit. Now, if that's the case, then okay, the club can't do as much about that. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I've just been, maybe it's me being too impatient. I'm doing the Thane level here and being a lot very impatient. But for me, I don't think it's good enough that it's took this long, unless it's through things that the club can't control. Nevertheless, as Daniel's just said there, well, background controversy aside, I'm glad this saga is now over the line. Let's now unite as a fan base and get behind the new gaffer. Style of play should be better than Beal ball and Dodds ball. Yeah, that's the hope, isn't it? Now that someone's finally appointed, I do believe that we can, we can finally move on and start talking about, hopefully Chris Rigg signs a new deal, Dan Neil signs a new deal, we can get new signings in, and we'll talk about signings in a bit. But yeah, let's just say that we'll see what happens. But it's just good that this is finally over. It's a relief because this has been, because of the amount of time it's dragged on. Oh, hang on, it's going to be 2-0 Belgium. No, it's not. Lukaku had an effort there. Get him in. Get Romelu Lukaku in. Go on. we need a proven. What's the one I'm looking for? Focal point. Obviously, that was a joke. But yeah, no. For me, it's just good. This is over the line. We need to be moving on now. We've got a rug, put it under the rug, sweep it under the rug. We've got a head coach. Now let's see what we can do in terms of the transfer market, because that is ultimately for me where that's going to make and break us over the next. That for me is where we will find out how serious Sunderland are taking this coming season. Because I've said loads of times that this championship season coming up is a good chance for Sunderland to realistically get promoted. I know people say you can't pick and choose when to go up, and I totally agree with that, and I totally understand that. But I think last season it was a big, big long shot. Ipswich aside, there's a reason the relegated clubs finished in the top 4, comfortably ahead of pretty much the rest of the championship. So next season for me is a big, big opportunity, and I just pray that this is a sign Sunderland are going to take it. Right, let's quickly go through some more of the comments. I don't know why that's happened. Hang on. Here we go. Right, Keith Beverley. I've just had a post flash up on Facebook, but it vanished immediately. But it said we've sold Bellingham to Palace for £25 million. Can't find the post now, though. While that might happen, Keith, I'm not going to dismiss it. It could have happened, but it's Facebook. I take less notice of Facebook rumours than I do Twitter rumours at this point. Zillion DJ says, wonder what's going to happen with Dodds and Proctor. That's a very good question. I have no idea. There were suggestions. I think Fabrizio Romano did say that he was going to be getting quite a few of his own coaching staff. So maybe that would suggest or imply that Doggs and Proctor are either going to be restructured within the club or are going to leave altogether. Zane Gidi put another comment, didn't he? He beat PSG 3-1 when he was in charge of Lorient. Yeah, that is, well, okay, fair enough. Liam says, I've seen Sunderland fans talk about Lampard. Because you got a foreign manager, do you think you'll look at the foreign market? I don't mean you'll get foreign players from English clubs. Before Sunderland fans slate me because I support a rival club, do you want to be promoted? Be a promoted club. Look at Burnley, Luton, and Sheffield United. To quickly address that latter point, yes, because I think Sunderland. I know it's obviously much harder to establish yourself in the Premier League these days, but for me, Sunderland should have a higher ceiling than Burnley, Luton, and Sheffield United. I take the point that you're making, but I think once Sunderland are there, we should be able to attract better than those clubs, and that's ultimately where the club belongs, which is the Premier League. I'm not saying we deserve to be there because, like I've said countless times, deserve to be somewhere and belong somewhere are two completely separate things. But for me, we need to be back in the Premier League really in the next year or two, ideally. Let's have a look. Let's see. Because you get to quickly answer it, but looking at the foreign market. Well, to be honest, Liam, we've been looking at the foreign market in the last 12 months anyway. So that's the way I'd look at that. We've been looking at the last foreign market regardless of anyway. So, and we've got quite a few French players at the club, so maybe this could actually help them develop. But I see your point. Like the foreign market for us seems to represent better value than what it does with the English market. Right. Robert Foster. He's French. He speaks fluent English, so the large French continent should be pleased. Fair enough. Jamie says, what's the point if we don't want to be promoted? I get the point Liam was asking, but yeah, I do want to be promoted. And when I say promoted, I mean promoted to the Premier League, not go down to League One and then come back up again. I've had enough of League One to last me a lifetime. Trevor Davis, definitely into the unknown. However, we are paying compensation for his services, which sounds like you're putting your money where your mouth is. But yeah, that should put to bed the idea that unless he's resigned from Lorient and then come here, it does suggest to me that we can finally put to bed there's no ambition at the club there, and also like we're not paying for someone and paying compensation. So hopefully that puts an end to that. DN says, do you still think Clarke will be sold, or do you think his injury and form when he came back will keep him here? I don't know how true this is, but I've been sent a rumour that Jack Clarke apparently wants to stay. Now, the problem with that is it's a rumour. Do I personally think he'll stay? No. I still think Clarke will leave. And I think, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Sunderland are banking on a big sale or two to be able to go out and spend to the level that we want to spend. Now, people can make up their own minds on whether that's right or wrong, and that KLD should be funding a lot of that. I do agree, again, like I've said loads of times before, with being run sustainably. I think that is a good thing. I don't understand how that will ever be a bad thing. But I think but like I've said before, my expectation in terms of spending or spendage comes when we make big sales. And when that happens, I expect a significant chunk of money, or more of a chunk of money, to be spent. Hang on, can we 2-0 Belgium here? Oh, saved by the Romanian keeper. So, to answer your question, do I think Clarke will go? Yes. How much for? I don't know. Me personally, I would be pretty livid with anything under 20 million. I think, and that's at minimum, by the way. Ideally, we should be trying to look at the 25 million mark. But I don't know. But, if Clarke does want to stay, then don't try and force him out then. It just means that if you need to make a sale, then you need to make it from somewhere else. For me, sell Pierre Ekwin then, if that's the case. Let's have a little more comments. Midnight Social, here we go. After all the trouble that Beale and Dodds have brought along, they have to have put some serious thought into this appointment. Mate, you'd like to hope so. You'd like to hope that they've done that. That's the only, maybe for my own sanity, that's the only reason why I'm thinking why maybe it's took so long, is that they're actually wanting to make sure they get the appointment right, and to make sure that they actually put the money where their mouth is, as what Trevor said, to actually get a bit of thought. If you watch Phil Smith's On the Whistle, which, by the way, great video. Phil Smith's a really good journalist and is able to sort of like have a bit of a balanced viewpoint on things. He said basically that he felt the recruitment process for a head coach didn't start until early April. And I think as well, if that's the case, then that means we've spent probably about 5 weeks assessing what went wrong. And then from start of April onwards, so 2.5 months basically, is when we've been starting to look for a head coach. And about probably 3 or 4 of those weeks have been wasted on Will Still. So it all depends what way you look at it. For me, I'd like to hope they've put some serious thought into this appointment, or they need to have done in order to pacify the fans. Andrew Miller said, Andrew Miller, our fourth international manager in the club's history, Republic of Ireland aside. Was it the right time to look abroad again, and will it change our play style for the better? Well, was it the right time to look abroad again? Well, time will tell on that one, whether Bris does good or not. As for the play style, if you look at the quote, I can't remember who put it on Twitter, but there was a video about a goal that Lorient scored in 22-23, and it was not too dissimilar from Tony Mowbray. In fact, if anything, it was probably a quicker version of the goal we scored at Reading under Mowbray, the one that should have won Manager of the Season and that goal. So, my one concern with him, and you probably know where I'm going with this, last season Lorient's defensive record was absolutely terrible, apparently. Now, on the flip side, the fact they sold quite a few key players from under his nose, did that end up playing a part? I don't know. My point is, and yes, I think that I think that the squad we've got now is better suited to attacking football, and that's fair enough. But I still stand by the point, you need to be balancing both of them. You can't just focus everything on attack and then forget about the defending. So for me, the play style, I imagine, it wouldn't shock me now if what I've read is right about Bris, if that we're going closer to what we were under Tony Mowbray. And I hope so, because the football, at least there, was good to watch. Liam, if you go up, you're going to need to spend a chunk of money, but look at the treatment Forest Everton got for spending money. This is where it comes down to spending well. That's all I'll say on that one. Steve says, Ballard, Elise, Hume, Clarke, Roberts, Ekwa, Bellingham. Think the English market way more suited to our club. Yeah, there's fair arguments for that. For me, I think now we've got a core of really good, talented youngsters. In fact, we're probably littered with them in the squad. Whereas now, I think we need to start targeting some more proven, established championship players and ones that are actually going to be able to start to push upwards, at least into the top six. Clarke probably wants to stay, but his agent may try and force him away. Money is power, unfortunately. The thing we've got to remember, yeah, Dan's right. You're right there, Dan. And also, to be fair, another thing is, if a Premier League offer comes in for him, does that turn Clarke's head? You know, it's pretty it's a grey area, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, look, if Clarke wants to stay and there's a chance he stays, then keep him by all means. Brilliant if you can keep him. But I just think we are. I'd like to think I'm being realistic in that I think Clarke will leave, but we all want him to stay. Of course we do. Midnight Soldier. Wasn't there talk of Speakman's contract ending sometime in the summer? If you believe forums, which I know is a very, well, let's just say forums aren't the most reliable at the best of times. But if you believe them, I saw suggestions Speakman's contract's up in September. And I've said before, and I'm going to make my prediction here, I think Speakman will leave after this window. And I think the reason I think that is because I think it'll be a similar sort of style to when Stuart Webber left Norwich last season. I believe they announced his departure in the summer, but someone put a link in and check if I'm wrong on that. But quite a few months before he left, they announced that he was leaving. But he didn't hand over the reins to Ben Napper until mid-November. In fact, during the November international break last year. So for me, I think I can see this sort of thing happening here, where I think Speakman has this window. And I think that between this window and the January window, I think then he will hand over to somebody else. So it wouldn't surprise me in the next couple of weeks if we announce that Speakman's leaving and going somewhere. People know my thoughts on Speakman. I do believe that he's made a scapegoat in comparison to KLD. But at the same time, if he has a bad window here, then he can go for me. Let's have a look. Yorkshire Markham. Lorient's relegation last season shows it wasn't entirely Regis' fault. Yeah, well, I think there's elements of that. If they're selling players under his nose, then that's the hope anyway, that it wasn't his fault and that actually there is something to it. I guess you've got to look at it and say, well, actually, you know, if it wasn't his fault, and if you look at the work he did before, so if you look prior to the last 6 months, the work he's done before then has been pretty good for a club like Lorient. Apparently, they're a yo-yo club in their French pyramids, but again, I might be wrong on that one. Right, let's have a look at the next one. Liam, if you go up, do you think you'll be a more attractive club than the Sunderland in the short era before your relegation under Moyes? We should be. We should be a very attractive club anyway in the Premier League, but especially more so under Short, because this time we shouldn't be in anywhere near as much a financially perilous position. Robert said, Lawrence relegation shouldn't matter. Klopp and Wenger both had a relegation on their CV. Well, there's two examples of a club that appointed someone after a relegation, and both one very high profile club, and the other one that ended up winning, albeit in his second stint, won them a trophy. The first one was West Ham with David Moyes, and I know that was what, bloody hell, that was 7 years ago. I just realised. It's like half life flashed before my eyes there. Like, West Ham hired David Moyes, and I bet you if you go back and look at, West Ham fans would have been seeing similar comments from us about Moyes than what I've seen on some Lorient fans on their own Twitter. And I know Twitter's not the biggest barometer of a fan base, but like, most of us were delighted that Moyes had left. And then he went and did pretty well at West Ham. And in his second stint there, won a trophy. So it works that way. And then the other one is Bayern Munich appointing Vincent Kompany. Bayern Munich, one of the biggest clubs in world football, appointing Vincent Kompany, who just got relegated with Burnley. So just because you got relegation on your CV recently doesn't mean you're a crap head coach. He might end up proving to be. We don't know. But I think it's way too... If any fans are writing him off, for me, I think we need to actually get behind him, at least until we have no good reason to do so. James says, Speakman will be placed on garden leave if he's leaving. Etienne says, Speakman was said to leave for Lyon, but rumours went quiet. Well, we'll find out if that's reinvigorated in any way. Rob SCFC, loads of managers have relegations on their CV. Moyes, Wenger, Klopp, Dyche, Kompany, etc. Yeah, very good point. I believe this guy was wanted by Nice 6 months ago. And again, I think someone said to me that he was spoken to by Leeds last summer before they appointed Daniel Farke. So maybe it just goes to show, the last 6 months aside, there is still stock in his locker with the head coach. So yeah, I think for my own thoughts, like I said, I'm excited about the unknown. But I am aware that it could go very wrong. It's one way or the other. So I got the feeling it's either going to go really good or really bad. I've got the impression there's no in between. But we'll wait and see with that one. Rob says, was January 2023 for Nice? Okay, fair enough then. Fair enough. Edison Cavani respects. I like that. And you could have had Rossini, Michael Lennon even. I don't know. All the best with this appointment. Thanks very much, mate. We'll wait and see how we end up doing with it. Liam says, to be honest, I do miss playing you lot. Reason why I want you promoted. Well, put it this way. When Sunderland get back to the Premier League, I want the time we are Derby to be a competitive fixture and have us to have a genuine chance of beating you lot. Not just be underdogs, not just be the whipping boys all the time, basically. And also, when we get to the Premier League, I want to be there to be sustainable there and to actually stay there, not just go straight back down. Malcolm Stevens says, it's not Newcastle, it's in Gateshead a lot. Mark says, meant to be a huge Sunderland fan and has huge picture of Newcastle's quayside behind him. I get this quite a lot. One, it's Gateshead, and two, I live in a Newcastle household when that was put up before I moved in. Jim Nesby, Michael, with SCFC, it's always either really good or really bad. Fair point. Chris Carter Jackson says, who bloody Ray, mate? Yeah, thank God for that. Hey, Jamsani's turned up, winning the league with Reggie. One else from Reggie Sauce. Midnight Social. With all the trouble we had finding a coach, I expected more players would have left us in the meantime. I get the impression a lot of them were waiting to see who we ended up appointing as head coach. And that's reportedly the reason why one big reason why Dan Neil turned down a new deal. So I think we'll wait and see what happens with that one. I think now we'll start to see some headway, both incomings and outgoings, where, the Bris will have had a chance to meet the players, to meet the squad, and see how this ends, and see whether we get a good first impression or not. And then we'll see what happens from there with transfers in or out of the club. Liam, as you mentioned, not go back down. Your fans ain't going to want to be the northern version of Norwich and West Brom just going up and down. Nope, definitely not. I suppose the only thing I can say that if they went up next season, they went straight back down, at least we come back down loaded with parachute money. And I think then that should be able to have us afford a better standard of player. But we'll have to see. I still maintain that I think we should be among the higher. We should be, if we make a big sale or so, we should be able to be among the highest spenders of probably the highest spenders of the non-parachute clubs. But that will, again, like I say, as I always say with me phrase, time will tell on that one. But yeah, guys, I think we're going to start and wrap it up in a minute. But yeah, this was just a quick live stream to talk about Regis Bris being appointed as Sunderland head coach. And I wanted to do this because it's a bit more relaxed and a bit more time to kill than what it would be if I was doing a regular video. And somehow got 75 odd people watching, which is absolutely mad. To everyone watching, hit the like button if you could. Let's even get to 50 likes before the end of the stream. We'll see if we can get to half an hour. Any final thoughts from anyone before we start to wrap it up? Like I said, for my own thoughts, I'm relieved it's over. Still think it should have been sorted much quicker, But at the same time, I do think it's an unknown and it's the excitement of it, isn't it? So time will tell how things go. But there's no mistake about it. Next season, the aim's got to be at least be in the top 6, and promotion's got to be the expectation, or at least seriously challenging for it. Liam says, "How do you think the relegated clubs will do? I think Sheffield United will struggle." Liam Miller, if they sign him, is a good signing, but I think they'll do the worst of the 3. I think Luton will definitely be in the top 6, and I think what was the other one? Burnley. Burnley depends on who they appoint. Jamsoni, what's your favourite type of brie? Jamsoni, mine's reggae. Sorry, I scared the dog. Right, I can only fools rush in. Right, guys, thank you ever so much for everybody for watching. Jamsoni, I haven't seen your video yet about Regis being named as our head coach, but I'm going to go and watch it now, funnily enough. Jordan Works said, got to give the guy our backing. Only Clinton Baptist could predict what will happen. Right, guys, thank you ever so much, everybody, for watching. Take care, and I'll leave you all to enjoy the rest of the football. But yeah, we'll finally have a head coach. Let's see how it ends up going. Will this go tits up, or will this end up being good? As Daniel says, like brie with cranberry. I think the people are going to celebrate with brie tonight. Take care, you lovely lot. Stay safe, and how are the lads? Let's see if we can get promoted to the Premier League again next season.